Welcome to the Dalen Show. It is so good to be in front of your faces again, people. Thank you guys for your continued support and love. I am enjoying every step of this journey, and we are officially halfway through season 4. And I cannot believe it, but we'll continue to work hard and make sure we wrap this thing up with a very fun and persuasive way because I have a lot in store for you guys. Not too much talking for me here in the beginning, but let's introduce our guest for this week, Miss Janese Constantine. Woohoo!
Yay!
First of all, Miss Janese, thank you for joining me. I know your schedule is absolutely hectic right now, so I appreciate you for giving me a little bit of time.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course, and how's life right now? How's everything going in your world of motherhood, sports agency, just
Yeah,
everything that you do?
it's good. It's good. It's very busy. It's very hectic. So many things are just happening right now. So just trying to stay afloat. We are new residents of Georgia, so I've been here now about a month. Still have plenty of boxes all over my house that
Yes,
we're
ma'am.
trying to get unpacked. I have 3 children, all under the age of 5. I have a 4-year-old. I have a soon-to-be 3-year-old on Monday, and then I have a soon-to-be 10-month-old. And they all stay home with me, and they're wonderful, all boys, and they keep me going. And then my husband, he just took a new job with the Atlanta Falcons, so he's in OTAs right now. And so they are, and don't quote me, I think it's OTAs. It might be like OC. I don't know. Essentially, I've been calling it spring ball. It's the collegiate version of like spring ball. But they've been working really, really hard, just trying to get adjusted to everything. Going from college to NFL. So he's been busy with that. And then the agency world is going great. Actually, we're in the beginning. It's all called the beginning of the baseball carousel. It's just kind of getting started. Still in the basketball one, kind of on the probably obviously downward a little bit. I mean, obviously it's not as busy. I mean, but staffs are still getting put in place, assistants, obviously D2s and things like that. I mean, some D1s just opened up yesterday, so we still doing that, and then just still recruiting new clients and signing new clients and things like that. So it's never ending.
Yes, ma'am. Before I get too far into our conversation, Mr. Denise, I love for my guests to give watchers and listeners just kind of like a brief overview about themselves. So if you don't mind just like sharing where you're from, and I know you've talked about a little bit of yourself right now, but just some things you've been able to do across your lifetime to help you get where
Of
you are today.
course, of course. So, Janese Constantine, maiden name, grew up at Janese Banks. As a lot of people still know me as JB. And so haven't transitioned too far from that, but originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, born and raised 317. I love it. I love my hometown. Grew up in a sports family. Mom and dad both play sports. Older brother plays sports. So it's really all I know. My mom was telling me a funny story the other day. She was like, I was never into dolls and dress, and
Yes,
all the girly
ma'am.
things. I just wanted to play. I just wanted to hoop. I just wanted to play basketball and did some volleyball, did some softball, ran track, but basketball's always been my passion. Went to college and played. Played at the University of Wisconsin. Go Badgers. Loved my 4 years there. Then I went overseas a little bit and played for 3 seasons. And then got into coaching. So I had to stop. I was a GA at Auburn. Spent 2 years at Milwaukee, 2 years at IUPU, 4 years at Indiana University, and then 3 seasons at Alabama. So had a 12-year coaching career as an assistant. It was great. Seriously, every step of the way, I probably couldn't have asked for, honestly, a better coaching career. Some of the people I've worked with, I've met, the lasting friendship, but most importantly, just the players I've got to coach. So still obviously consider myself coaching, just a different squad. Obviously, I got my 3 boys, married 6 years, just this past about 2 weeks ago. So we've been married now 6 years, and yeah, that's kind of me right now in a nutshell. I love, so I'm definitely full-time mom and wife and career woman, and those 3 titles probably take up 100% of my time. Love the Lord, definitely. Deep into my faith journey and my walk. Kind of, it's actually funny. Kind of, we'll start our search for a new church home out here. That's obviously something very important to me. Love to just chill, love to hang out. I'm a homebody, but I love to be like with people. So I love like game nights, and I just love hanging out. Obviously, a lot of things I do now involve my kids, so a lot of play dates. My husband loves to go to the movies, so when we can, we'll do that. I love to shop. when I can. So love to take trips, love to have experiences, things like that. So
I want to kind of just start where you are right now. Talk about your new adventure, kind of being a sports agent in that director role that you're now in with your new company. First of all, was this something that you maybe have been working on for a couple of years, or how did you get involved with this? And so far, how's it going for you?
no, it was truly a God thing. Seriously, when I when I was pregnant with my third child in our last season, Alabama, the question that I kept lingering in my head was, could I do this? Could I do this? Could I do this? The answer to the could have was probably yes, I could have. Did I want to continue to do this in just the environment, knowing how busy my husband and I both were and how much we were just using babysitters and living away from family. I didn't feel like I was present a lot at home. When I was home, it was always thinking recruiting, you're thinking winning games, you're thinking about your current team, and you just feel pulled in so many different directions. I could be at soccer practice and thinking about what calls I should be making and things like that. So, and then like I said, my husband's responsibilities were continuing to pick up. So I just kept asking myself that, like, is this the lifestyle I really, really, truly want to continue to live in? But I knew I didn't think I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom like full time. I was like, I want to do something. Like, I got to find something. But I also knew I probably needed something because, again, the trajectory in the way my husband's career was going, like, I didn't want to keep starting a job like the necessarily locking me down to a location.
Yes,
Because I knew I'm like, I got quit in 2 years, and so just was praying for God to just put something, some options, I guess, in front of me that were very flexible to my schedule that that I could, and actually do, and so couple relationships, couple connections, kind of start really working on my LinkedIn. I really will say that I became a fan of that from a business aspect and just started connecting with people. And, one connection led me to Tyler. It was very crazy. One of the guys, he gave me three people to reach out to. He was like, hey, reach out to these people and just see what they got going. Tyler was the first one to respond, a couple conversations, and just kind of liked what he was hearing, and liked what he was saying. It sounded intriguing, and I knew I was leaving coaching anyway. Like, that kind of wasn't. I knew I wasn't going to continue in another season because I was about to have my baby in July, and I just knew that I was like, I just don't know if I can do this. I was like, and even logistically, like having somebody dropping 3 kids off for us at daycare when we have to do things like I need a big car, like it was just so many things, and so. Tyler reached out, a couple of conversations, and I was like, I think I can do this. I work remote, so I'm at home. I do keep my kids at home with me. It wasn't originally like this. My older 2 went to school when we were in Tuscaloosa. The baby stayed home with me, but in moving and really trying to find childcare in this area is obviously hard, building the trust and things like that, and then just waiting lists. But so that's kind of how I got into it, and then. But it really fit. It really fit. Like I always knew I felt like I had strong relationships, and I always felt like I knew that I was a people person, and I never really did it with like an intention of like, oh, I got to do it for the longevity. I really just truly enjoy people. I can go back to my Auburn days, to my Milwaukee days when I was first getting in. Like I talked to any and everybody, ADs, SIDs, janitors. Like it didn't matter. Like I just built relationships with so many people, and it's so funny because now I can look back on those relationships, and some of these same people are now helping me just build connections and get connected with ADs and presidents and things of that nature and search firms. And so it really fit the mold that I guess of a niche that I really didn't know I had, I guess, in terms of just connecting with people and people trusting me. And so that's what I feel like I've brought to our agency and brought to Tyler is just feel like a natural trust that people have in me. They know I'm just not a shady person. I don't do things grimy. I've always been pretty stand up. If I don't know something, I admit it. I tell you, but I'll figure it out, And then if I don't know a direct number, I know somebody that probably knows it. So I think people have always liked just how I've handled myself and who I've been. And so it's definitely paid dividends into what I'm doing now. And it's been fun. I mean, obviously the biggest adjustment for me is like, probably like baseball and football too. Like, I mean, it, and even though my husband's in it, but I like seeing it like through the cycle, like that was different. Obviously, I feel pretty comfortable in women's basketball and fairly comfortable in men's basketball. So But then learning this, the agency side and the
Yeah.
business side and how things work. And, it's like, oh, okay, this is how we're really doing things. So that's part's been a good learning curve, but it hasn't stopped the work to get clients to just believe in what we're doing. And I love, it's so funny because, work for, work with, Tyler is obviously he's the head of it. So I always say I work for him. But I truly feel like I work with him. Like he's just a great partner in this business. He's a great supporter of me and my just lifestyle as a mom, as a wife. And then just believing in me and his like affirming me of how good he thinks of an agent I am. He is truly always just filling my cup with positive words of affirmation and just thanking me and just for the hard work and things like that. So I truly feel valued. I feel supported. I feel heard. So many things that I didn't know, kind of switching careers, I guess, essentially what I will be getting into, but it's been no regrets.
I know this is still kind of recent for you, but do you have any piece of advice for young people that are maybe trying to go into the sports agency world and are going through the variations of trying to figure out where to go, who to connect with, or maybe how to kind of enlist themselves in this crazy world of sports agency?
I'm going to go kind of back to what I reiterate is just the way you treat people is going to be first and foremost, because from what I've experienced getting into this side it's not so much about having the degrees are great and the credentials are great because obviously there are a lot of things that Tyler can do that I can't yet. I haven't been to law school, so I don't know those actually necessarily things that he does, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think obviously if you know this is what you want to do, if you know you want to be an agent, yes, definitely like going to law school, and learning more of whether it's the vocabulary, the language, and learning the business side, getting doing stuff with the NCAA to where you're in front of a lot of administrators. But truly, a lot of it is around the people, starting from like let's say you're in high school, from the people who recruit you. Just always being who you say you are. Just truly representing yourself in the highest manner and character. For instance, if you're in high school, if coaches are calling you, call them back. If you don't want to go to their school, if you know you're long, just tell them, being honest, like you really just forging relationships in a way that are positive, because there's players now who I recruited who are now coaching that now I'm trying to sign them to agents because I knew who they were, recruiting. So I just think always doing right by people, always showing up as your best self, and just having a good representation of who you are, as a person. But definitely from like I said, a business aspect, if you know this is the business you want to go into, surrounding yourself, you can say just with the right schooling, putting yourself around the right administrators, and learning that side of the business, because it's more of the relationship will trump the business, because most people are going, they'll be like, I'm not fooling with you. I don't know you. They rather know you and then like, okay, now we can do business.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And they wouldn't be talking to you if they knew you didn't know business. So it kind of goes hand in hand with that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
I want to go back to you growing up in Indiana. Talk about your childhood there, and I know that and I'll say this as well, people don't know this unless you're, avid and understanding of basketball. Indiana has a rich basketball history. So what was it like growing up in Indiana? And I know you talked about earlier just your history and your family history within your parents and your siblings with sports. What was it like growing up with your parents and your brother being a great athlete in himself as well?
Man, great. I go back even to my childhood, just really no regrets. I mean, I really truly lived what they call it, breathed, ate, slept. And it's so funny because I don't even know if I believe in that necessarily now, of if that's the right way to do it, but all I did was play sports. I literally, when I go back and think about my childhood, I don't remember much of a time when I wasn't doing something that involved sports. But like I said, it forged the best of my relationships. And what is in 49 states, hold on, I'm gonna mess this quote up, but you're gonna have to edit this out.
I got
This 49 states is basketball, but this is Indiana or something like that. But it truly, I mean, it is so edit this part out. Don't put this part in there. But no, the support, the love, and obviously I didn't play college in my home state, but going back and working in it for 6 years because I worked at IUPU for 2, and then IU for 4. And man, when I was in Indiana, just seeing that fan base grow, and just seeing people just truly, even recruits, like love the game, like just want to work at it, want to train, want to be in there. Like I even going back, I think about growing up when I went back. It's so funny because I look back now and I think like, man, should I have like done more and like vacation more when I was in college? Like I look at these kids now, and obviously it's a whole different ball game now with like NIL and stuff like that, with the money they have that I know I didn't have. But like I see the trips they go on, I see like they're sitting courtside at NBA games, like they living it. I went back home in the summer and just hooped. Like I'll never, when we came back when I would come back for like summer breaks to Wisconsin, we literally had a rotation of open gyms set up. We went to IUPUI, we went to Butler, and we went to UND. And that was like every day. Let's say Tuesday, Thursday, you might be at IUPUI, Sunday, Wednesday, you might be at Butler, and then you was at UND on Monday. So maybe you had Friday that you wasn't hooping, and then I was probably finding and opening up a gym, whether it's Ben Davis or whatever, and having open runs. I play with guys. Like, it didn't matter. If there was basketball being played somewhere, it's probably where you could find me. And so growing up just in that environment, I really just think it helped shape, who I am today, just with the work ethic I feel like I have, the trouble I probably stayed out of.
Yes, ma'am.
And like I said, just the relationships that I built. I really didn't truly know anything else besides hooping. So like I said, it probably saved me from some stuff. I didn't know really where to hang out and what to do. I was at the gym, and then if we was hanging out, we was probably going to BW3s or something afterwards and catching an NBA Finals game or something, or some WNBA.
I want to ask you, since you kind of just mentioned just the state of where college basketball is. I'm an avid women's basketball fan, and you kind of being in the march of it over the last 10 years or so. What is it like for you to see where it's grown over the last couple of years, and the way that not only women's college basketball is getting this recognition, but the WNBA is now kind of seeing the emergence of expansion for more teams and getting more money for the women as well. For you, what is it like to just see women get the respect that they deserve for such a long time?
I think it's great, and obviously, you feel a part of it, because you felt like you paved the way a little bit, and obviously the people before us, paved the way for us, and then open doors for us, and now you feel like you just open doors for other people. But I think it's great. I really do. I love everything about all the recognition that everybody's getting. And obviously I don't want to get into the nuances of the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll just focus. I would say I will get into the nuances of the good, because that's what I try to focus on, because I think it's great. I really think that the exposure that these young ladies are getting, and the doors that it's opening for so many other people, and not only women's, I feel like it's opening up the doors for just women's sports in general. People are watching volleyball, people are watching softball, we're watching soccer. And so I just think that it's opening up just the doors for women in general to continue to thrive in a sports world, in a sports industry, and doing the things that they love. So I'm a supporter. I try to promote, retweet, tweet. Sometimes I tweet my opinion, sometimes I don't, but at the end of the day, I just want to be a supporter, of the game, and continue to be part of the people that push it forward. I'm loving. I saw a lot of the Toronto stuff coming out the WNBA, and we got the Bay Area stuff that got released. It's really cool to see, because growing up, I remember back in, I don't know, it felt like the WNBA is around like 20, what were we in, year 27 or something like that? Maybe I could be, don't quote me on that, but I'm thinking about, we're going back to like 1990. When did this, 95, 90, no, 95, 97, something like that? 1997. Might have been like, I watched that. Like,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
watched live Teresa Weatherspoon hit that 3-quarter, court shot to force game 3 with the Houston, Comets. Like, I watched when Mawadi Mabika was playing with the Sparks. Like, people probably don't even know who that is. I remember some of these coaches now, who are now coaching in the WNBA, like playing, and so it's really, really cool for me to see that, and it's like you guys are like real life superstars, kind of. But to just see the game continue to grow, it's been, I love it.
Thank you. Throughout your 4 years in Ben Davis High School, you were recognized with being the Gatorade Player of the Year. Throughout your recruitment process, first of all, what was your recruitment process like? What went into that, and what ended up leading you to become a Wisconsin Badger?
It was my recruiting was definitely intense. I probably, again, looking back from now what I know from actually doing it now, I probably wasn't as hands-on as I probably should have been. I think my dad handled a lot of it. There's so many times I'm telling coaches, they're like, man, we called you, you didn't call us back, you didn't do something. I'm like, because again, cell phones weren't like, I mean, you had them, but they weren't like the thing that people like, it was usually like call my dad and then they set stuff up, or you call your high school coach. And so it was great. I mean, I did a lot of the due diligence. I think my dad took me on a lot of unofficial visits. So I met with a lot of coaches, a lot of staffs. For the longest, where I thought it was going changed. It did. It really did. For a number of reasons, whether coaches left or, somebody else may have signed and things like that. So it was kind of all over the place a little bit. And then it kind of got down to when what ultimately made me choose Wisconsin was I was on an AU team that about three other players, were also had committed there before I did. Mm-hmm. And when I went on my visit, it felt very, it felt comfortable. It felt like I was like, I can do this. Like I can come play here. Like they recruited me hard, and we had a vision on where we wanted that program to go. And then I think when you think about leaving from home, like, oh, I can go play with people I know. Like that sounds cool, and so that was ultimately what kind of led my decision, was just kind of the comfortability that I felt like I could go and make an impact, immediately. And I did. I was able to start for 4 years. We definitely wish I never got to experience the NCAA tournament. We went to 2 WNITs. We went to the finals my junior year. And so obviously there's some things that I wish we could have done and accomplished more, but I don't regret, the things that I got to experience, the teammates I got to play with, the coaches I got to play for, people I got to play against, in the Big Ten. I was selected. I went on a Big Ten foreign tour. Still friends with several of those ladies now. We went on a foreign trip to Australia. Like, it was great. I mean, so that's kind of what led me ultimately to play at Wisconsin.
What was your transition from high school to college like? And I say that from just in general a perspective of, were you ready for it, or was the lifestyle change hard for you? And as well from a basketball perspective, maybe what were some of the differences between high school basketball to college basketball, or maybe the practices and the traveling? What were some of the differences for you from there?
I mean, you always, it is true what they say, the pace, the field, the expectations, like all those things are a growth learning curve. Yes, but I do, and again, this could go back to kind of like just maybe the gym rat I was. And now obviously, like, nothing ever prepares you for like preseason conditioning and all those kind of things. But I trained hard, before I left. So I felt like I was in pretty good shape, going in. Like, I don't remember going in and failing any tests and like having to like do repeat things like that. So I felt good. I was a natural gym, like actual like weight room person. Mm-hmm. Going to Ben Davis was probably the greatest. It was probably one of my favorite just basketball moments. I like, if anybody knows about the rich history and culture of Ben Davis, like, most of the time the athletes that come out of there are prepared. They go to school and they do thrive. We just have a wonderful culture in sports, from the way we train, we work out. So I started lifting weights before high school, but from high school, from 9th grade year on, every day we had what's called advanced PE. We had a great coach, and Coach Vanderbush. He's what we consider the GOAT, from how he prepared us. And so going in, like, I was probably one of the strongest, even coming in, just because we had trained, so hard. So that wasn't like a big transition for me. What did probably transition was we probably started doing more like sports specific things versus just overall like lifts and stuff like that. But the style, like I said, the expectations, the demands, from practice, study table, massage, come back to practice, get your extra shots up, get your treatment, study table, and you got to eat. And then, so that part was probably like, woo, in high school, okay, wake up, go to school, go to practice, come home, and stuff like that. So it was a little more, chilled at the colleges, and they expect you to be on it, and they expect you to hold yourself accountable. If you're late, it's on you. Like, I'm not here to, hold your hand through it. So that was probably the biggest adjustment.
Throughout your 4 years at Wisconsin, was there any particular player that maybe you always remember as being one of your most difficult opponents, and maybe as well throughout your 4 years, was there one hostile environment that kind of stood out over others?
That way, man, I'll be very honest. I think playing in the Big Ten, I've faced a lot of great players, and not only just in the Big Ten, but I mean, obviously, your non-con and things like that. But probably one of my most, I laugh at every time, and I'll give her a shout out on here. Katie Gerald, she's a coach at Purdue now. She had a career high on me. I'll say on me. But I was guarding her. She literally probably, I think, had like 41. Like, it was insane. Like, and I was like, I really felt like, what I'm supposed to do? Like, this girl, she's, KG, and it's so funny because KG was from, from Indiana. Like, her high school was our high school was probably 30 minutes away from each other. So I knew all about her. I knew how good she was. My girl's like 6'2", with a jumper, with a hand, like she was so good. And I mean, when I say she dropped a smooth 41, man, it was smooth. She was tough. I know Brandy Hoskins from Ohio State, tough, like just a big guard, strong. I just felt like she played bully ball on you. And then another, Tanisha Wright. I mean, she's coached for the Landry right now. Man, she was so cold. She played at Penn State.
Yes, ma'am.
So I probably go through every school. There was always somebody who I would be like, dang, like, here we go again. And obviously, like the Nebraskas and like Rutgers and all them, they weren't in the conference at that point yet. When I was, growing up, and Maryland wasn't either. But seriously, I could probably take you through the list of every school. So obviously, obviously I played at Wisconsin. So Minnesota was always a hard environment to go into, and so I went into college the year after they came off that Final Four run. So Lindsay Whalen was gone, but Janelle McCarver was still there. She still had one more year. I'll never forget my freshman year. We went up there, and the fans were packed, and they kicked our tail. I was in late in the game. I think I got an offensive rebound. Thought I was going to go back up. I think Janelle McCarver sent my stuff into like the 5th row. Like, it was bad. And my assistant coach pulled me over. She was like, "Don't try that again." Like, shot fake, kick that mug back out, whatever. But Minnesota was always a tough environment to go in.
Graduating college, I know you had the opportunity to play professionally and go overseas. What was that experience like? I know you traveled and played in different places like Ukraine and Iceland. What was just being out of the country like for you, and as well still playing a game of basketball? I know we kind of just compared your high school and college, but what was overseas basketball like now for you?
A big growth moment in terms of just it kind of humbled you.
Yeah.
It made you very grateful and thankful for the things you have here in the States. But one of the things I can also say is it just made you grateful for the game, because all you did overseas was play basketball.
Yes, ma'am.
So you literally woke up, you went to practice, came home, went back to practice, play games. Like, there was nothing in between. There was no, obviously you could work, you lifted your weights, you could go work out and things like that. But I mean, there's no school, there was no study tables. There was no, you didn't have the other extra. You literally just got to hoop, and so that part was really, really cool. I was like, wow, like we're doing this, literally doing this for a living. Like, y'all, like, we're actually just playing ball. Very much of a culture shock, very, very much, especially my first year when I was in Ukraine. I'm very thankful my parents raised me to just be resilient and grateful and thankful and make the most of everything. Because it was a complete culture shock. Like, when I went over to Ukraine the first time, I mean, I literally I don't know how graphic I can get, but we went and we were going to some bathrooms, like, there's no toilet paper. Like, you had to carry, thank God I had my own.
Yes,
but you have to be carrying your own. Like, there's literally times where in certain bathrooms, there's no actual toilet. Like, there was a hole in the ground. Like, you had to figure it out. There wasn't always soap. Like, you'd have to carry your own hand sanitizer around. And when you found some soap, wash your hands. First places I lived in, we didn't have a washer and dryer. Our washer and dryer was at the facility. So I was like literally hand washing some of my clothes and like hanging them up outside. And so all those things was like, just a complete, and then we won't talk about the food. I went and I bought my first bottle of water, and I didn't realize there was like water, what they call water with bubbles, water with no bubbles, obviously just carbonated water now. But I went to drinking, and you think you're drinking water, and I get this burst of like, carbonation. I was like, whoa, so, and then, there's certain milk you had to buy, and then like just obviously the language barrier it was different, but I will say this, and I still believe this to this day, if it's something you want to do, I think everyone should try to experience it. Now, if you don't stay, you don't stay, but just having that experience, seeing different cultures, seeing the world, playing basketball, not having to do this real world thing for a while. I'm pro playing overseas. I really am. And I know there's obviously probably controversy around that, but I think if you're in the right situation, I think it can be really good and beneficial.
Was there any player now or both, growing up playing basketball or in your time, playing basketball professionally or in college and high school, any player, women or men, that you kind of just love watching their game, and maybe some film you watch and took some of the things from their game that you tried to use in yours?
From a film standpoint, I mean many. There was many players, but I'll tell you like players that I just absolutely. I'm a huge Tamika Catching fan. Like there will be no one else better in my eyes. I love her. I thought she just did it all. I think she embodied everything you want to see from a professional, from the way she carried herself to how hard she worked to how hard she played to how successful she was. Obviously, she played for the Fever. I mean, growing up I was just a huge fan. She was the best. So she's definitely goated in my eyes. Kevin Garnett on the men's side, I absolutely, again, feel just the same way. I loved just the passion he played with. I loved how good he was. I love how I felt like he made others around him better. He took losing so hard, and then Kobe. I was a huge Kobe fan, again, for the same reasons, his work ethic, and just how he competed on the court. So those three, I will say. And then it's so funny because she's younger than I am, but I love Maya Moore as well. So I'd probably say Tamika Catchings and Maya Moore, just those two probably. I hate that neither one of them are playing now, but when I look at them, I'm like, man, they probably still gonna get a bucket.
Yes, man. I love that. All four of them have a great persona off the court as well. So I love those answers. You spent 3 years playing professionally, and then you would end up coming back to the States and getting into coaching back at Ben Davis. And then you talked about you would be a graduate assistant at Auburn. How did you get into coaching? And was that something in the back of your mind that maybe you'd have been wanting to do for a while and you were just waiting for the right opportunity? But what was your upbringing into getting into the coaching career?
I think just being coached by some great people that I feel like I was able to just see a lot of great that came from coaching. And so I definitely think it was something I always thought I may do. I wouldn't say it was never like a dream job. Like I never grew up thinking I would coach. Probably not until started going overseas. I was like, okay, because when I would go back home after overseas, I go back home and I do some training. I'd volunteer coach with at my high school and things like that. And I was like, you know what? Okay, this is something that maybe I can, definitely do. And so just and again, would always just go home and work out. And I worked out a lot at I worked out a lot at Butler. One of my best friends played there. A lot of people I knew played there. And just I actually got one of my first would have been opportunities to coach there, but I was still playing and I wasn't ready to stop playing. And I knew that's what I would have to do. Then fast forward, probably a year or two later, I can't even remember. I just knew I was like, the overseas things was kind of going slow for me from what I thought. I felt like I felt like my body was breaking down on me. And so I ended up getting another opportunity to be a GA at Auburn through, it's so funny now, she's a coach at Tulane, Ashley Langford. Her and I met, we were so funny. It was at the Final Four in Indianapolis. One conversation led to she was about to be done. I was like, so if you leaving, if you going out the door, who coming in? She was kind of like, nobody yet. Then fast forward, funny, Nell Fortner was a coach then. Years before, she was the Indiana Fever coach as well. My dad was one of her practice players with the Indiana Fever. So the connection just came.
Yes, ma'am.
She offered me a job. I took it. and I had never been in the state of Alabama before. I probably didn't even know much about Auburn. Like I had no idea what the Iron Bowl was. Like none of that. I was like, all right, cool, going down there, and so all that was new. SEC basketball was even, when I say new, like again, I played in the Big Ten, so. And again, you got to go back to thinking about where the game is now. Games weren't on TV like they were now, so you didn't have the Big Ten Network. I think started my junior year, maybe, in college. So like you didn't turn on a game every night and see somebody playing, so I like you knew about SEC basketball, but not in that, going down there and playing. So again, just another cool thing that I was introduced, to, and just starting as a GA at the Power 5 level. It was pretty awesome. I mean, it was a pretty awesome experience. I got to learn a lot. I got to see a lot. I got to see a lot of great players, again. So I was very thankful for the opportunity. And Nell and I still, can kind of keep in touch to this day.
I'm a huge music lover, and I love to ask people who's their summer favorite artist, favorite song, and as well, maybe when you were playing, was there a particular like playlist or song that you had to play to kind of get you ready for a game, or were you just kind of same thing?
No, and it's so funny because I'm not a music junkie. Like I'm really not. Like I listen to stuff. I listen to a lot of Christian hip hop. I listen to a lot of gospel. I listen to a lot of R&B. So I mean, but obviously, kind of, I think a lot of Waka Flocka probably like listen to back in the day when I was getting ready for games. Lil Wayne. I'm trying to think. I mean, that was that was the Go DJ. That was that was my time, and probably some DJ Khaled. I mean, DJ Khaled even probably done back then. All I do is win. I mean, that was hot, and so that was probably hard in the paint, all those kind of things. So getting ready for that, but I love a good R&B now. I love some Christian hip hop. I love like Lecrae, Indy Mineo. I've been on some Forrest Frank lately. Like he's been really good. Maverick City, Maverick City. I listen to them. A lot of Hillsong. I love my old still Kirk Franklin, CC Winans. But I also love. I'll still go back and I'll listen to Michael Jackson. I'll listen to Monica. I'll listen to Mariah Carey. You know what I mean. I kind of but I'm not like a. I'm not oh my God, somebody's coming in town, I must go to their concert. Like I'm not that much into music. Like if something's on good. I mean, if you follow my Instagram, I post something funny that day. And now I have to listen to a lot of lullabies and nursery rhymes. But I'm mindful obviously of what my kids listen to, so I'm not listening to the same things in my car. Like Lecrae and stuff, I'll let them listen to that, but then they don't even want to hear that halftime. I want to hear they want to hear Spider-Man and all those things.
Getting the opportunity to come back to Indiana and work at IUPU, what was that moment like for you to just I wouldn't say full circle, but just kind of be back home in the state of Indiana and see your kind of coaching career kind of elevate to a new level at IUPU?
No, it was. So when I was IUPUI was the first when I was at Milwaukee. I got the opportunity to come back home, and it couldn't have been a more perfect opportunity time to be able to coach in your home city where you grew up, to recruit players that you literally grew up coming to watch me play. Like I was able to recruit players that supported me. I knew their parents. Austin and I had a really great relationship. He trusted me with a lot of things, so I learned a lot. We had a great staff with Alex and Kristen, and then Latrell came, and so it was. And then we were on the trajectory to be really good. Obviously the year I left, I mean, they were some of the players that came in like Macy and Holly and all those girls. I mean, they ended up winning, I think at least 2 Horizon titles because 1 year COVID they didn't get to go when they won, and so those girls came out to have decorated careers. So I know we recruited hard, and to see that program take off to where it is now, and to see them at Butler. So that was great. I was able to be back home. I was very active in my church back home. I taught Sunday school, so that was important for me. I got to see my nephews a lot more and my family, so that was really huge. And then to get the opportunity to go to Bloomington, 45 minutes up the road, is the best thing that ever happened in my coaching career. To be under Coach Moren and to learn under her was words will never be able to express how indebted I am just to her and what she taught me, and the work ethic, the passion behind playing, and the preparation. Her preparation was none like I'd ever seen. But then also just the trust. Coach Moren was not a micromanager. So she gave you a lot of freedom to have your stuff done and have done the right way. So you grew because you just had to be on everything. And so and then she wanted you to always have high energy, and she wanted you to take care of the players. And so those were just demands and expectations she had that I just learned a lot from. Nothing again. My time in Milwaukee was great with Kyle, and every step I felt like helped prepare me to get to the level. And then obviously when I got to come to Alabama, was great. But then going back just what you said, to be in my home state and to see what Indiana basketball is now, and to know what it was like when I was in high school is mind blowing. Just to see that place packed out. I went to 2 NCAA games when I was back home this past March, and I mean, you're 17,000, just a regular, like that was just something regular, to see when we were first playing. I mean, get 6,000, people there, but and see that the thing like it is now, it's just a testament to the talent that they've had and the players they've had coming in, and what Coach Moore has done.
Yes, ma'am. I'm appreciative that you have been willing to just drop points of how important your faith in religion is. That's something that I'm always been an advocate in. In the last few weeks, people watching and know that the last few guests have been advocates of Ms. Janese, what is this? Why is it so important for you not only to have a good relationship with God, but also be an advocate for Him as well, and making sure that other people understand who He is and what He can do for other people's lives? Why is that so important for you?
I just because I believe it's so funny. Somebody tweeted something the other day. You'll look up one day and you'll be probably living the prayers that you once prayed. And I'm truly a witness to. I really feel like I am living answered prayers right now. And I know what He's done in my life. I feel like I know what my life could be if it wasn't for His grace and His mercy, for what He's done for me, from what He's kept me from what He saved me from what He's brought me to, what He's brought me through. Just so many things. Like even to who I'm married to, I truly believe has been God orchestrated. There were so many what I'd call potential opportunities in the coaching world that I thought I should have had, that I thought I should have got, that I wanted to take. And if I didn't stay on the path that God had for me and the path that is now, I probably would have never met my husband,
Yes,
And so I know how crazy this world is. I know how just crazy life is. And so at the end of the day, when I know I have someone I can talk to, I can call on, I have someone I can take my burdens to, I can pray about, and just know I have a peace that surpasses all understanding. For me, it is something that I'm so thankful I don't have to not experience. Like I don't know a life outside of God. Like I grew up with that as my foundation. So for that, I'm thankful for that my parents poured that into me. Like I didn't have to wait until I was 20 to get to know Christ. Now it has obviously evolved in my adulthood into my own relationship, and now me pouring into my children. But I don't know a life outside of trusting God, and for what He's done for me. And I will say, the older I get, I don't feel like, I don't try to force it on people. But if you ask me and my experience, and I'm going to tell you what's worked for me.
yes,
And
ma'am.
if it works for you, great. I always tell people I feel like you should try it. Like,
Yes,
what's the worst that can happen? Try
ma'am.
God. Like, He's not gonna fail you. So,
Yes,
but if you
ma'am.
don't, I guess if you don't like it, then go walk your own walk your own little path. You ain't gonna do it with me, but no, I'm just I mean I love people no matter what whatever they choose for them. But in terms of me, when people ask me what works, when people ask me, I guess the secret, I tell people all day, like, how'd you do it? I'm like, this has been nothing but God. I mean, my whole life has been nothing but God and His covering. And I've been through hard times. I've been through loss. I've been through grief. I've been through pain. And I've been through things that I felt like I wanted to turn out a different way. But when I look back and how it is now shaped and molded me into the place I am now at 38 years on this earth, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what He's done. And like I said, I don't know a life outside of God, and I don't came too many guarantees in life, but I can probably guarantee you I'm never gonna know a life that exists, without Him through anything. Because again, I believe in Him that much. I will say I know too much about Him,
Yes, ma'am.
that you can't make me doubt Him.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, because I don't really try to force it on people either, but I like to kind of emphasize that as a piece of reminder for maybe that are people that are religious and are maybe going through tough times and are questioning things, but maybe can hear things like for people like you and keep that motivation, or people that are trying to find some type of it. So thank you for being willing to share that.
Of course.
You were able to be a part of the Indiana Hoosiers coaching staff with Coach Teri Moren. And what an incredible job she's been able to do there, and with the help of an incredible staff. What was it like being in Indiana, and can you kind of like give us maybe like a day-to-day schedule for you during your time? Maybe it can be in the summer, during the season, anytime. But what was your day-to-day like for her and with Indiana?
I will say this, and I know it's probably sound cliche. I truly believe we were a family up there, a family atmosphere. One of the things that we did at Indiana that Coach Moore demanded for us, and at the time it was hard and it was tough, and I hadn't really done that before. I don't think anywhere else, but we went as a coaching staff to pretty much everything. Mm-hmm. So if the players were working out at 6 a.m., we was there at 6 a.m. Yes, and she just truly believed. She was like, I want to be in the thick of things with my team. If they're doing hard, I want to be there to at least support them doing hard. And at times it was tough. I mean, it would be, you're in the summertime, and you might want to look, especially lose. Well, especially after some NBA games, Lord, you might be 12:30 before you go to bed, and you up again at 5:30. But
yes, man.
I just think that was just one prime example, just something that showed our togetherness, though. And I will say this: I do feel like our players truly were thankful. Now, did they probably get sick of us? And I will say she also too, like, we weren't always, like, usually just our presence. Like, she just wanted us there, encouraging, clapping, spotting, be ready to support. So I'm sure they got sick of us, but I do truly believe that they saw us in the thick of things with them. And then another thing she did, I know this is a small thing, she created like an environment of health and wealth and working out. And so like, she worked out. So all of us worked out. And again, I was always a workout person anyway. All my stops, I trained, but knowing that, like, she gave you that time to work out, and like, cause she was gonna get hers in. So you better either join in or, and again, our players seeing that, like, whew, yeah, she can do it. They can do it. Like, we gotta, we gotta get with it. And so just that environment. And then just the preparation and the work, the time we spent together. So day to day, a lot of it was especially in summertime, was she just wanted us present to be around for our players. And so if somebody needed something, if somebody wanted to drop in, she wanted players in your office. She wanted you building those relationships. She wanted you in the gym, with them. And so just being around for that. So we did a lot of cutting up. We did a lot of having fun, just shooting the breeze and talking and recruiting. And then, like I said, during the season, again, it was a lot of preparation. So we watched a ton of film. So we would watch individual film, you'd watch position film, and then we watch team film. We met to talk about game prep and what we were going to do. She was a big person of solutions. Like, don't come to her with no bunch of, we got to rebound better, we need to do this, we need to shoot better. Like, duh, what are your solutions? Like, bring me a drill, bring me some advice, bring me a sub, like something, like, what I mean? She didn't want fluff talk.
Yes,
she was, again, she gave us a lot of freedom. So if you had an area, you owned it. If you had defense, you owned it. If you had shooting, you owned it. Come up with your drills, come up with your reasons. And then she just wanted to make sure you were doing the prep for us. So basically, again, let's say we played, we just got done from a game and we met the next day. She don't come in there and tell her, Coach, we just didn't box out. She's like, well, I can see that. We got our rebound about 12. Like, okay, who didn't box out?
Yes, man.
Why weren't they boxing out? Were they, like, basically she wanted to make sure, did you go home and did you watch the film? Or are you just coming to here with some stuff to sound good? So, after games, you stayed up and you watched film, because she was going to watch that thing 2 and 3 times. So she knew what was going on. So you better know your stuff. So, like, she was going to ask you, but again, when you proved it to her, she was like, oh, she's again, the freedom just came to where she would just be like, Janese, you got the last 15 minutes of practice. They all shooting drills. You better have your shooting drills, and they better be organized. You better be ready to teach them. You better be ready to teach them with conviction. All those things. Like, she was, Coach Box was in charge of defense. So if it was 30 minutes, if it was 15 minutes, if it was 10, whatever it is, own it. If you were going to put in a drill, little things like, if you was going to make some, Make sure you have a point guard in. How are we going to play a 5-on-5 drill without a point guard? Like little to the details like that. She was just on it. You know, Red had special situations. And at all times, at all points, he better be ready. You know, he had press breaks. So it was just a lot of authority that she just gave to people. And it just made us work so well together. And then we used to meet a lot as like assistants before we went to her. So we was all on the same page. And so I just felt like the preparation that we did to be great, you know, and to bring in great recruits and the belief in people in her was just really, really strong.
Janese, if you could have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Ooh, you said dead or alive?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go. Okay, I'm gonna obviously I'm gonna go back with Tamika Catchings. Like she's got to be there. Michelle Obama got to be there. I'm gonna go ahead and go. I'm assuming we're going all celebrities too, right? Like, is this what we're talking about?
You
Like,
can do celebrities, family, friends, peers, anybody.
I mean, here's the thing. I got like 5 different categories. So I'll stick to the celebrities, okay? Because I seriously would have like 5 different categories of people. So I would go. So we said Tamika, Michelle Obama. Then I would Kobe. You know, I'm going back with KG because I just think he is all that. And then I'm gonna go. You can put Dawn Staley in there. Why not? She's it right now, right? So yeah, I would go with those. And I know they were all sports. I probably should bring in a couple of different people. I probably should though. Now, can I redo my list?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, let me redo my list. Okay, I'm gonna still go with Tamika because I gotta go with Tamika. Tamika Catchings, Michelle Obama. I'm gonna go with Kobe. And then I'm gonna go with one of my favorite like gospel artists. I love Erica Campbell. I've always loved her, so I'm gonna bring somebody musical in, and then I'm gonna go with Priscilla Shire.
Okay.
So those are gonna be my 5. So I got one. So I got 4. Yeah, Tamika, Michelle, Priscilla, Erica, and Kobe.
I love it.
And hopefully we're eating something real good.
I got you. Thank you for sharing that. I know you kind of talked about it during your time at Auburn. You really had not much experience with the SEC, but you ended up coming back down to Alabama and being a part of the staff at Tuscaloosa. How did that opportunity come about for you? And at what point in that time of your coaching career did you realize that this was something that maybe it was time to move on from in terms of, you know, being a part of your other life for you?
So it came about. So when my husband got down to Alabama for football, so he was the one that obviously, I'll say, took us away from Indiana, but he got an opportunity to work for Alabama football under Coach Saban, and like nobody says no, right?
Yeah.
So we went down there, and so I was down there for about 3 weeks. I wasn't working. I didn't think I'd be working. One of the assistants who I actually knew from when we worked together at Auburn took the North Carolina job, and Christy called me. I mean, Christy, we talked, and yeah, it was kind of like she basically was like, I don't even why we gotta go through a process. Like, you're down here. I know, and I had known Christy for years since I was in high school. She was at Purdue when I was in high school, so I know her for like a long time. So she knew who I was, she knew my character, and it just boom. We met at a coffee shop, and it was all she wrote. And I happily accepted because I wasn't done coaching at that point. Like at that point in my life, I still very much so wanted to coach. So I was so grateful and thankful for the opportunity to go down there and just get familiar with a different scope. Now, and it was a crazy time. Remember, it was during COVID, so I went down there in 2020. So this was a whole new ball game. I mean, we're talking masks, we're talking separation, we're talking about only so many people can be in workouts, only so many people can sit in the office. It was crazy. It was crazy. But it was great. We went to the NCAA tournament. I got to coach I was coaching players that I didn't recruit. You know, and so I really didn't know anyone. I mean, I knew I knew their names. Let me say that. Like, I'm not gonna act like I was oblivious to who was on the team, but I didn't know them personally. Like, I had no relationships with any of those players, and so just coming in to a new environment, it was like, are these girls gonna trust me? Are they not? And so it took some time. I mean, you know, I think I think I usually have some initial just respect because I played, so I think like, okay, I guess you kind of know what she's talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
Look, they could still Google me and find some pictures or something.
Yeah.
And so I got that instant with a street cred. So that was great. And then it really, not until, like I said, after I had my second child, really realizing how fast I went back to work, kind of really just, and I'll tell you another thing that was hard for me. Our first year down there in COVID, and coaching, we went to the national championship game. My husband did with football, and I missed it. That was hard. That was really, really hard to just not be there for them in one of the biggest moments of his career.
Yeah.
And then, after having my second child and just really, again, going to football games, but for work, like I wasn't there supporting my husband. I was there working, so like, but then, you were entertaining, you're recruiting, and so you don't get to really just be supportive like you want. So after I had my, second and got pregnant with my third, I was really like, this is something's got to give. This is hard. This is hard on my body. This is hard on my children. We were away from family. I'm having people, if we on a road trip, but my husband's got to be at work. He's leaving the house at 5 a.m. You're having a babysitter bring, 2 kids around. And then, the hardest part was like if somebody got sick and I was on the road, like my husband having to leave work, like it was crazy. So I knew probably at that point I was like, something's got to give. And I was okay walking away and being done because I never had like head coaching aspirations. Like I knew at some point all I wanted to be was an assistant, and I was good with that. I knew my husband wanted to continue to grow and elevate in this profession. So I was like, hey, cool. I'm cool. Like I am good. I'm good stepping away. And thankfully, the Lord put us in a position to where we were able to do so for a little bit. So
thank you. There's one question that well, it's actually 2 questions I always try to like ask before I kind of wrap up. And you talk so much about the different pieces of advice, but if you could just one piece of advice for people watching or listening, just about life in general, it doesn't have to be about basketball or coaching or anything, but just a piece of advice that you've been able to live through and understand that you would give to people watching and listening that maybe they can use in their everyday lives. And as well, I'm very big on legacy and just doing things that in my perfect standpoint of making sure I'm doing what people remember me for and doing things that I want to be remembered for. So when people hear Janese Constantine, what do you want them to always remember about who you were as a person?
That I was always grateful, and that I was always kind. That I always treated people with respect, and that if I ever didn't, or if I ever made mistakes, if I ever let something get in the way, that I was okay apologizing and owning my wrong. And I've done that. I know vividly. I've had, especially back in my younger days as coaching, I made some mistakes. Just some ways I handle situations where I'm like, I mean, they're still people. They're still, they're still young people. They're still figuring stuff out. They're still emotional. And I have to honor those emotions. I have to respect those emotions. I have to respect boundaries. But you don't really learn that until a little bit later. And so, just going back and be like, you know what, I messed up. That was my bad. I could have been a little more graceful in that situation. I probably could have been more understanding. The answer probably didn't have to just be just go work harder. There's some human feelings that can just come back. Like, you know what, take a day. We all need it. Take a day. Go rest. Take your mental. And so, but I truly just want to be known for my kindness and my gratefulness. That I am grateful for so many things that God has blessed me with. I'm grateful for people. And so I do. If somebody was having a side conversation about me and I wasn't there, I hope they're talking about how kind that I always was and how well that I treated them.
Well, thank you. Again, I know that you have a heck of a lot going on, so I appreciate you for giving me some time out of your day. I can't express that enough because this is what I do it for. I don't do it for myself. And, I know my name is on the company, but it's about sharing people's life story and their advice and their wisdom. So thank you for joining me.
Of course.
And I wish you the best of luck on everything that your future endeavors has to hope for you. So
appreciate it. Thank you so much. And like I said, I hope we continue to grow and know each other. Obviously, I didn't know, much about you before, man, but this was awesome. I gotta go back and follow you on Twitter. I've been meaning to do that. And just, get to know you more. If you ever need me back on, just let me know. I'm actually in the beginning stages of a podcast myself. So we may have to talk
ma'am.
On the flip about just some how-tos. This part, so you can edit this part out or whatever. But no, I appreciate you. This was great. So thank you.
Of course, and I appreciate you. Please feel free to reach out whenever. I'm always here. And thank you guys for tuning in, man. I enjoyed this a lot. I really did. And I learned a lot as well. And I related to a lot of different things as well. So I hope that it pieces to you as well. God bless you all. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, everyone.